Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Sitting Courtside, episode 29. Of course, it's your boy Jerry D here.
And it's your boy Dante. We don't have an NBA player, and we looked it up before. We were thinking, who the
Yeah.
hell wore 29? There were a few interesting names on there. Marcus Camby is the one that stood out the most. So shout out to you, Marcus Camby.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the most notable one. I think, beside Message in OKC, who now plays for the Hornets, which is not a household name. So,
yeah. Come on, he's getting there. Yeah, so 29 isn't a super popular number. I think I said this before. I think Marcus Camby was forced to wear 29. But regardless, it is episode 29 of Sitting Courtside. Welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're an audio listener, make sure to give us 5-star rating, like all that stuff on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'm plugging in early, Jerry.
yeah, we're getting plugged in
I'm
early.
getting
by
early.
Dante.
Listen, it's 11:30 right now. I'm ready to go. I haven't had a coffee yet. You think I would right now? I have a little bit more energy than I thought I would, but ready to
You're
talk some basketball. I'm excited.
lazy.
I'm excited to jump into some stuff, Jerry. But before we do, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Like, unlike you, I haven't had my Gatorade Twitch either for the day. But I'm solid, man.
I have
Another
to
day.
try that. I've heard like some of my friends like have recommended that to me. Like it's
Oh, it'll,
actually like
it'll, it'll
really
get you jacked.
solid.
It'll get you
Hmm.
jacked. It'll
I'll
get
get
you.
after this. I'll pick it up at like a gas station before I go to the gym. I'll give it a shot. Too many people. A lot of people have actually been telling me about it. I just haven't checked it out yet.
I don't recommend any type of energy drinks or anything caffeinated to actually get you hyped up for a workout. I'm not that kind of guy, but
Fair,
I
fair.
did happen to drink it before a long drive, and before the drive, I,
You.
I felt like I needed to go bench press 3,000. I mean, I think it
the,
does work.
the GPS said an hour. I got there in 30. But yeah. So this episode is not sponsored by Gatorade Twitch, but I will be checking that out after this. But yeah, we have some loaded topics today. Injuries, some returns, some mishaps.
Oh,
Jerry,
yeah.
you ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and give people the bad news first, or start with the worst
Rip off
possible
the
topic.
band-aid.
Yeah,
Yep.
like injuries are they're plaguing us. Like I think we see year after year, certain teams are bitten by injury bug where everybody's out on one particular team. But this year, it's a multitude of guys. To read off the list, we got Karl Anthony Towns, who'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks after the torn meniscus. Ben Simmons out for the season. No surprise there. That's a reoccurring
Mm,
trend, unfortunately.
yep.
Alperen Şengün actually just sustained an injury, out for the season. One of our favorite players
I
here
I
on City
watched. I
Courtside.
saw it. I was watching League Pass that game when it
Hmm.
happened.
Joel Embiid, another one that's obviously he's been out for a long time, could return for the playoffs, but we still don't have a definitive answer. And then, well, Donovan Mitchell, who's already missed the 65 game threshold mark, where
Yeah.
he won't qualify for an All NBA team, even though he's averaging like 29 and 6,
Yeah.
or won't win any type of award. So it's unfortunate. We could also toss in the Knicks here, who's been without Julius Randle for a long
Yeah.
stretch of time.
Jalen
And
Brunson
then
had a little injury scare. Thank God it wasn't anything serious.
yeah,
But
OG
yeah,
Anunoby,
man,
same thing. It's
it's
ugly.
just like it's part of the game. Obviously, like you said, we've seen instances where just teams are just riddled with injuries, and then in this case, it's just kind
Oh,
of spread
bef-
out.
before you continue on, we forgot
Mhm.
about Kawhi Leonard, who just got hurt against the
Kawhi,
Timberwolves last
what
night.
was it? His back? Was it
I
his
believe
his?
so. Yep.
Yeah, he left the game. Had to leave the arena because he was uncomfortable sitting, which is something you don't like to hear.
No.
Yeah, dude, it's just like, especially like you don't want to see injuries in general. It's unfortunate, especially when these injuries are players on teams that are like the playoffs are right around the corner. It's like they're just about to start, and it's a really low blow to some of these players, these teams, because they work so hard all year long. Like Cat, I mean, they were the number one seed in the West all year consistently. I mean, now they're still a 2 seed. They're only half a game back of the number one seed. But like him being out 4 weeks, like going into the playoffs, it's good that they were able to build up that team chemistry and all that during the regular season. But
Right.
it's unfortunate that they'll be without him. I think he's gonna miss part of the playoffs, at least the first round, part of the first round. So hopefully he gets
If
back
they
soon
get out.
enough. Yeah, they have to get out of the first round without him. They're definitely going to be short-handed to start the playoffs. But hopefully the injury isn't. He had surgery. They said 4 weeks, so look everything over. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery. Everyone is different when it comes to those injuries, how they recover and stuff. So hopefully he doesn't miss as much time as we think. Ben Simmons, we're huge we're Ben Simmons fans. We're supporters. We want the best for this guy, but man,
Absolutely.
he can't stay healthy, man. It's unfortunate. It really, really is. And I think this injury in specific is going to be the one that eventually like puts him back on the free agent market. I definitely can see the Nets potentially buying out his contract after this year. Just kind of maybe starting fresh, giving him a fresh start somewhere. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. I've seen some reports saying that the Nets might move on from him, but it's unfortunate. It's a player that has the potential that he has.
I,
Um,
I really
just
think that
being
the Nets might be able to actually be a playoff team because there's a good amount of talent on there. They just don't have a playmaker. Ben Simmons
yeah,
would have fit that role. And like real quick before I let you finish the
yeah,
rest
no,
of your
go ahead.
spiel, in 2021-22, he didn't play a single game.
Mm-hmm.
2023, he only played in 42, and then this year he only plays in 15.
I can't
So
believe
like,
he played 42 last year. To be honest with you, that sounds like a
it,
lot.
right, but he didn't start in all of those, which is also
Yeah,
part of it. But we talked about LaMelo before we actually started recording here, who's also another injury to add to the
another
list,
one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
who played in 32 games last year, and now he's only playing in 22. Like guys are only playing in less and less games, and it's kind of crazy because
Mm.
LaMelo's a young buck, and Ben Simmons isn't exactly even 30 yet. I don't know how old he is, but let's
He
see real
definitely
quick.
he
He's
definitely isn't
27.
old.
He's
Yeah.
27 years old.
Oh,
Supposed to be the prime of
he's
his
supposed to be
career.
in prime of his career. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I don't know. It's hard for a team because you're right. Like a Nets team could use a good playmaker like Ben Simmons. They're only 3.5 games out of the playoffs. They're still on the cusp of making play. Not saying that they will, but it's just hard when you can't count on a player being on the court and stuff. And unfortunately, you have to make some difficult decisions. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him when he's 100% healthy. And if he can stay healthy, I think he is a difference maker. I think we can both agree on
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
as you just listed off, like it's hard to be a difference maker when you're not on the court. So some
I mean,
decisions are going to have to be made. We'll see what happens with Ben Simmons. But he's only 27.
yeah.
He can still turn it around.
There's just a lot like at all the guys that I just mentioned, like on the list and even off the list with Kawhi, Melo, Jalen Brunson, and Randall, the rest of
Mm-hmm.
those guys. I mean, everybody plays a role for their team. So Carl Anthony Towns was the second best player and a good way to stretch the floor if you're Minnesota to open up the floor for your Anthony Edwardses, for your Jaden McDaniels, and the rest of the guys that penetrate. In terms of Kawhi, everything's kind of riding on this dude,
Yeah.
like to
Mm-hmm.
the point where if he's hurt, I'm not penciling in the Clippers
No.
to go to the
I
WCF or
remember
even
we did a game a few weeks ago. You said like the biggest X factor for these teams like to win a
yeah,
championship. I said James Harden for the Clippers, and I'm not going back on that. I
yeah,
do think he
no,
is an X
that is the X
factor,
factor.
but
Yeah,
but everything does revolve around Kawhi Leonard. Like if
yes,
he's healthy, when Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs healthy, borderline top five player. When you
oh
a
yeah,
few years ago, without a doubt, definitive top five player.
yeah,
If he's not around, that team's a lot different. Paul George, James Harden,
it's
Russell
not the same.
Westbrook, another guy that's hurt. Him and Scotty Barnes both fractured their hands
Their hands.
a few weeks ago. So two more guys, but Paul George and James Harden. It's like it's not a question of can you trust these guys. It's just like that's a different team. Like
They
that's
shrunk
everything.
on the
Yeah,
bright. Like I talk about the bright lights all the time. Both of those guys, I've seen
yeah,
them
they
shrink
have history. They
in the
have a
postseason.
history. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is the one guy that you can kind of trust and like lead the way here. So if he's not
Yeah.
there, that Clippers team is not too confident in them.
And then
Um,
just like how they're missing stars and their playoff hopes go down, the Sixers are in the same boat. Where
mm.
if Joel Embiid is hurt, I'm
If he's
not
not
picking the
back for the
Sixers to do
playoffs, they're
anything.
not. If they're not, he's not back for the playoffs. I think there's a good
No,
chance they might get swept in the first round.
I'm
No
not.
disrespect, no disrespect to them. It's just
All you're doing is being real. Like,
I'm just being honest. I
do
love
you
I
have
love
faith?
Maxi. I love
Yeah,
Maxi, but he can't. I don't think he can lead a team to a series
that,
win yet.
and that's what
Not
it
yet.
boils down to. How much faith do you have in Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey to
Not
get you out
much.
of a first round
Hey,
playoff
hey,
series?
Buddy Hield. All right, most threes since 2020s. All right,
Look,
come on
man,
now.
I'm not taking it. I'm not buying it. I'm not
But
taking
no,
it.
realistically though, like a lot of these teams, like these players that are out are significant players on these
Yeah,
teams. Like we went over these. Sangoon, he was probably the Rockets are not going to make the playoffs, but he was their best player this year.
there
by
was an
far.
outside shot that if he was healthy, maybe they win enough games to slide into a playing
They
spot where the
weren't
Warriors
too
or the Lakers
they
were.
weren't too far out, right? I
You
mean,
never
they
know.
are they're only 4.5 games out of the Warriors. Like they were still pretty close. Now with Sengun out, I think those chances are out the
It's
window.
taken down. It's taken
It's
down.
taken down. But yeah,
We
like Sengun, we talk about him, man. Just I think he's like right there of being like a top five, maybe even top three center. I think is his ceiling one day.
for
He's
sure.
right there. He's special, man. He's a mini Jokic. He can do everything. He's like the youngest player to put up. It was like 2010 and 5 in a season or something
Yep.
like that. Yeah, and I was watching that game because I did have money on it. And I saw him go down, and I'm like, "Fuck, man!" Like the good thing is that it's only a high ankle sprain. Again, like injuries suck no matter what.
Yeah.
But thank God he avoided a serious injury because the way he got wheelchaired off the court. When you see the wheelchair, you either think you pooped your pants like Paul Pierce, or you snap something in your leg. So thank
Oh,
God it was just a sprain.
yeah, no, you know, things could be a lot worse for a young player, especially assuming they don't make the postseason here. Now you
Mm-hmm.
get to go into the off season somewhat healthy, where it's
You kind
easy
of have a
like you can
longer
have.
off season to rest up and stuff
Exactly.
too. So
You can get a lot better. You can get healthy, and you can hit the ground running to actually work back
yeah,
out and improve on whatever you want to improve on. And the last thing I want to touch on before we do move on here, Donovan Mitchell not receiving any accolades this year due to the 65 game rule. I know we touched on this episodes ago, weeks ago, whatever it
yeah.
was,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we just need to revisit real quick again. The rule is bullshit. And players are literally going to miss out on money because of a 65 game
That's
requirement that
right.
barely any All Star is really going to hit unless you're like Jokic, who's been one of the more durable stars throughout the league in the last 10 years. Or
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess LeBron hasn't missed a lot of games. AD
Tatum,
hasn't.
I think Tatum too is not like
Yeah,
obviously levels and
he's
stuff,
been
but like
durable.
Tatum's another guy that's
Durability.
pretty durable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those things where it's like we've talked about this. We both agree it's bullshit. I like that I
Yeah.
like that there's like a line, right? But I think that line needs to go down a little
Needs
bit.
to be
Like
lower.
60, I think 60 games may have been maybe like high 50s or something like that. Because and like at first when it came out, it's like, oh, like interesting idea. This could work. And then you actually get to the point where players are like being ruled out. Then it's just
Yeah.
like, oh man, that's fucking stupid. Like Joel Embiid, I get like that was an outrage. Embiid's a little different. He missed like what half the season probably. That's kind of like a little bit more justified. Someone like Mitchell, who like you is on a tear this year, 28 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. The
That's
Cavs
all NBA first team.
are
Like that.
that's an NBA first team right there. And I think the biggest thing, and you nailed it on the head, is the money. That's where the players are going to be
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no. Like this is bullshit. We
I
got to do
think
something.
we gotta
It's
we have to reevaluate in primarily for the money, but we also need to reevaluate it because there's not 120 games in a season, but
mhm,
65 games is the requirement to play to actually
right.
deserve and earn this stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm not saying we should bring it down to 41 games because that's the season split in half exactly. But how I think I'll do like 50 to 55. I think that's more
Hmm.
realistic. Play more than half the season, and you can
Maybe
get these
like
awards and accolades. Not
maybe
65 games.
maybe
It's a
it's like
little much.
52 where it's like you can only miss 30 games or something like that. It's like and like we've kind of talked about this. It's like there's honestly a difference between not being eligible for awards and the all NBA teams because the all NBA like you can make like obviously there's incentives like oh you win the MVP you can get this whatever but the all NBA teams is really where the money is made. Like we've
Exactly.
seen in history where like players don't make Jason Tatum. I mean, last year, John Morant, who was suspended 2 years ago, Jason Tatum, he missed out on the All NBA third team, I believe it was, by 9 votes, and he missed out on $40 million. And it was like a This isn't me saying like, oh, he should have made it, but it was one of those like, it was a position thing. Like Kyrie, he had more votes than Kyrie, but since
Yep.
Kyrie was a guard,
Guard.
he got it over Tatum. So it was like what it was a big thing, whatever. But that's where the money is. Tyrese Halliburton's not going to get it this year. That's a guy that could have been an All NBA second team player with the way he's been playing with like leading the league in assists, and they're not going to cash out on it. That's the issue. That's where players are going to have an issue there. I'm curious how because this is the first year they've done it. I'm curious if they'll make some adjustments and tweak it a little bit for next year because
Oh, they have
I
to.
I mean it's like it's not set in stone. Like again, I think it's a good concept. Like I definitely think it's something that you need to have in place so players can't abuse the whole sitting out, whatever. But there needs to be some tweaks. Just like the play-in tournament. Play-in tournament was great, but there are a few tweaks that need to be made. Just a
For sure.
few. But it's just because you made it, you put it down for one season doesn't mean it needs to stay
Yeah.
that way. You can
Hey,
change it.
like I could appreciate the new innovative ways that Adam Silver and the rest of the NBA is trying to
At
promote the
least he's
game.
doing something.
And
At least
yeah,
he's doing something. You know
leagues
what I
are
mean?
usually
He's a
afraid
good
of change.
commissioner.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't want to change up something. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In this
Mm-hmm.
case, Adam Silver said, you know what? We need to compete with the NFLs and the college footballs in the world in terms of viewership. Let's try to spice some things up. Our stars want to
Right.
sit out for rest. Let's erase that by creating the 65 game rule
Mm-hmm.
requirement. So we can basically mess with their money if they do
Mm-hmm.
decide to sit out. So I
Right.
understand, and I actually, like you said, I appreciate it. I think it is a great idea, but it does need to be tweaked just a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know the extent of it. I don't know how far they go, but if I play 55 games and I don't get an award because of that, even though I averaged 28, 6, and 5, like how Donovan Mitchell is, I'd be pissed because I'm gonna
Yeah.
see Anthony Edwards take my all NBA first team spot and he averages less points, less rebounds, and assists than me.
Yeah.
I'm mad
Yeah.
if I'm Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I'm
BS.
I'm I'm mad for him too. I mean, it's just part of it. Like, I mean, there's nothing he can do about it. Like, that's just the rules set in place. But maybe if there's like by the end of the season, a lot more top names miss out on it because they just missed the threshold. I think the NBA is like obviously they're aware of it, and at that point they might have to do something. But we'll see. I mean, we gave our thoughts on it. I mean, you guys give us your thoughts, what you think of the new 65 game rule, like thoughts on the awards, all NBA teams, how that's gone about. But yeah, I think we both can agree that it sucks. It fucking sucks. It really does. But another thing that sucks,
Ripping
that
off another
or
band-aid.
or yeah, ripping off, or maybe unfortunate. So the Lakers unveiled these new Kobe Bryant statue outside of the crypto.com arena, or whatever you want to call it, the house that Kobe Bryant built, I like to say.
Cool.
And they misspelt a few things. So it's the statue. Is it like it's like commemorative for like the 81 point game. So they had like the stats and stuff. They had the box scores, whatever, of players on both teams, all the stuff that you would see in a typical just like
Box score.
box score, same exact thing. So they misspelt Jose Calderon. They called him Jose Calderson. Von Wafer, Vom Wafer, and then coach's decision, which is this might be the funniest one to me because right above it they have coach's decision spelled
Spelled
correctly,
right.
and then right underneath it's coach's decision spelled incorrectly. They just put a C instead of an S. So like this isn't something that we have to like sit and talk about for like 10 minutes or anything like that. But like I think the one question that I've had since I've seen this is how because like I feel like this is something that like it's like years in the making. It's so fine like you're doing box, like this is so fine detail, like you're down to the specifics here. And dude, like did not did no one proofread it? Like did no one like go over it? Like I don't know if they like skipped a step or like they didn't have someone to like go over it after, or the guy that made it just isn't. I don't know. I don't know what happened here. But it's kind of embarrassing.
Kind
It's
of.
pretty embarrassing, Jerry. Not
Pretty?
a good look. Not what word are you thinking of?
This is this is a fucking laughing stock.
It is. I
Like
am laughing.
there's so many other statues in front of crypto.com arena that don't like I've been there. I've gotten to see, I've gotten to read it. I haven't noticed even Oscar De La Hoya's statue has no blunders on it and he's a boxer. Like this isn't even anything for basketball. But
Yeah. Uh-huh.
like you said, the house that Kobe Bryant built, probably, just because Magic says it, that is the greatest Laker in franchise history.
Mm-hmm.
He gets his first statue, one of three.
One of
And to
three.
kick things off, you put that out with spelling errors. After
That's
I don't know how much it cost to get construction done for a statue, but I imagine it's a lot of fucking money because we're talking about people melting down like, gold and brass and all this other
Hmm.
shit and molding it
It's a
into our shape.
process. It doesn't happen overnight. It
It,
takes a while.
and somehow, some way, like you said, like, did you not did you not proofread this? We're talking about professionals in their craft, and that's what they put out. That's really fucking disrespectful for my
Hmm.
franchise goat.
And it's tough. Like you see, like, and I think this is more common in like the NFL Hall of Fame, where you get like the bust made and it's like your face. There have
Yeah,
been times where like you see someone's like that doesn't look like that guy or whatever, but it's like some I don't know. Sometimes it can be hard to like get the perfect face, mold the perfect face. We're
and
talking about spelling here.
exactly.
We're talking about basic like look at a sheet of paper, look at the you're copying the box score, look at the box score, and then hey, Calderon, Calderon, Vaughn, Vaughn, decision, decision. Listen, I just listen. I know some people it might be harder than others, but like I don't know. It should like you're getting paid, and I'm just being real. The people that probably did this got paid a lot of money, so you're getting
Oh,
paid a
yeah.
lot of money to misspell some things. And it's like, what do you do now? You're gonna make a whole new statue? They just did this whole thing about presenting this one. What are they just gonna get rid of this one?
Apparently,
And
they're going to correct the errors. I don't know how you fix that on a statue. It's not like it's engraved in. It is
right?
like a sheet of something. I don't know what it's called. I'm not no architect or chiselist.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
me
don't know
neither.
what the
Yeah, yeah,
proper
yeah.
name. But what I do know is that we do know how to read and write, and we know how to spell.
Yeah,
And if I'm
I'm
gonna work on a
confident enough.
project of that magnitude, I'm gonna like probably double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it.
If
So I
I
know.
had this guy's job, Jerry, I'm just gonna assume, okay, just wild assumption he made. I'm just gonna say $100,000. I'm just gonna put that number out there. It's a
Probably
big
more.
project, LA, like inflation, taxes. I'm saying $100,000. If that was my job for $100,000, you said double check. I I would check it 20 million times before
Yes.
that got because also, I mean, I don't know. We don't know anything about this guy, who this person was, what it was. I'd be like, my fear is like, I'm not getting a job again. I'm not gonna be able to make another statue. I'm on board to make those other two Kobe statues. I'm off now. They're getting another guy coming in to check the spelling. Yeah, tough luck, man. It's a beautiful statue. It's a great statue. They did a great job with it. Besides a few spelling mistakes.
They disrespected my goat, and I don't like it. I'm pissed. But yeah, we
That's
can move
tough.
on. We can move
We
on.
can move on. Hey, let's move on to something nice. Our only like positive topic today. Our only positive topic. We have a former NBA player by the name of Isaiah Thomas, not the Pistons one. No. He's long retired. Former NBA guard from the Celtics, more notoriously known, Isaiah Thomas, signed with the G League, Utah Jazz G League team. I don't know what their
The
specific
Salt Lake City Stars, I
Salt
believe.
Lake City Stars. So Isaiah Thomas, who is 35 years old, um, also known for being the last pick of the draft in 2011, has played 3 games so far for them, and he has been on an absolute tear. He's averaging, let me see here, 32 points, 6 assists, almost 3 rebounds, shooting 41% from three, 38% from the field, and 94% from the free throw line. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. Isaiah Thomas is one of my favorite players of all time. Like, I mean, just his story, everything about him coming to Boston. I remember like when he got traded to Boston, I remember I was sitting in my car right outside of a Supercuts in high school. And it was like the trade deadline just went through, but it was like, oh, like it's like, oh, just because it's the deadline passed doesn't mean trades are still going to go through. They're going through the office. I remember seeing Marcus Thornton getting traded for Isaiah Thomas, and I was like, okay, we were starting a rebuild, whatever. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like this guy comes into Boston, he gets ejected his first game. Just like I forget who they were playing. I think it was the Lakers. He was going at someone. It was like the most like aggressiveness we've seen from a Celtics player in years at that point. So we fell in love with him. We know like he what came fifth in MVP voting one year. Almost led the league in scoring. At 5'9". It's just there's one thing like guys like Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson's my favorite player of all time because it's like the short guys that can get shit done, heart over height. Like those guys like really like cemented themselves as at the time Isaiah Thomas one of the best guards in the league. And then injuries happened, kind of started getting traded around. Just like unfortunate circumstances for him, and him being 5'9" doesn't help either. But just signed with the G League team, he's doing super well. And like one thing I want to say, one, I'm happy for him because he's a guy that like I follow him on Twitter and stuff. He works out all the time. He's always like NBA ready for a call. So I'm happy to see that he's getting an opportunity in the G League at least. Um, it would be interesting to see if a team that's like kind of out of playoff contention right now would look to sign him. But more importantly, I kind of want to like writing down this topic is like I think the G League is such a great spot for the NBA now because like you have like the young guys that can come in, like the Ignite teams that you can get from instead of going to college, come to the G League. But then you also have like these veterans, like not just Isaiah Thomas, Lance Stevenson is a notable one from like probably a few months ago. Like
Yep.
these old guys can come back in and look for a second chance or like still compete and stuff like that. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and I'm really happy that he's getting his chance. I would like to hear
Yeah.
your thoughts on like the G League and just like all this stuff in general. But yeah, man, I'm happy to see Isaiah Thomas back playing, even if it's not like on an actual NBA team. It would be cool to see it back on an NBA team. I don't know if that'll happen, but very cool that he's back getting another chance.
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Thomas actually spent some time in Charlotte. I think
He
that was
did. Hmm.
maybe his last active stop here, and the team was well above 500 with him in the roster. Hell, he got us to the play-in tournament spot where we did proceed to get blown out by 30 points, I believe, to the Pacers, but that's not important. He got us there, and he was a
That's
big
not
reason
what.
why we got there.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it sucks I wasn't in the arena to actually experience him like in person because of the COVID situation that was still kind of lingering around
Right.
for us, but it looked like he had a huge positive impact on a squad, and I think he could do that for a roster, whether that be a young team or a team
Hmm.
that's competing for a playoff spot or an NBA title.
Honestly,
Uh,
dude, like I mean, I think veterans are just so valuable in the NBA today. Like Udonis
Absolutely,
has them. People there would be some people that would give him shit, like you're taking up a roster spot, like you're not playing and stuff. But just that veteran presence is like sometimes more valuable than having another guy that could give you like 5-10 minutes off the bench. You know what I mean? Like someone like
yeah,
Isaiah Thomas, and this is like jokingly, but it also kind of is like it's not a real thing, of course, but like the Isaiah Thomas curse in Boston. It's like ever since he left, the Celtics just something has gone wrong. Something's like things happen. People like until they bring back Isaiah because. I mean, we're the ones that traded him when he was hurt and stuff. Danny
yeah,
Ainge traded,
y'all
which is
getting him
ironic
wrong.
because it's ironic because Danny Ainge is the president, the GM of the Jazz now, where Isaiah Thomas is playing. So it's funny how he's back with Danny Ainge. But I think like he would be great on a team. Just he doesn't have to play. Just like being in the locker room, that veteran presence. I mean, like
Yeah,
I can sit here and tell you, like I would love for him to come back to Boston and
yeah.
just sit on the bench. I have his jersey in my closet still. Like I love that guy. Um,
No, that's
but
that's
it's
exactly the type of energy that he exude in a younger locker room with Charlotte. Guys like
mhm.
LaMelo gave him props. Miles Bridges gave him props. PJ Washington, when he was here, gave him props. They all appreciated having an older voice that's been through the ringer of the NBA already and was a number one go-to option on the team
Yeah. Hmm.
to shrink himself down, not literally because obviously he's 5'9",
You can't
but
go much shorter.
shrink his personality down to actually be more malleable and fit with a group of guys that's a decade younger than he is.
Right.
So
Hmm.
I mean, I can appreciate the hell out of IT, and I'm sure Tatum, Jalen Brown, who played with them for a second, they could all appreciate and put their arms around. Oh wow, like we got our vet. Like those guys are important in terms of the
It,
G and the status of it. You mentioned Lance Stevenson being a highlight name for a veteran. How about Kenneth Fareed, who fell off the
him
map?
too. 100%. Yeah,
He
for
fell off the
sure.
map entirely in the NBA. Like I think his last stint was with the Rockets, and he got caught in this
Years ago.
transition of hey, we're playing a lot faster, and if you're a four and you can't shoot the three like how you can't, you don't belong here.
Get out
So
of here. Hmm.
that's where he got chopped off it. But he's been making some noise in the G, being like a small ball five or something is actually a
Hell
realistic
yeah.
thing for him. Justin
Yep.
Jackson's another good name, former
Mm,
Carolina guy could
yep.
actually be good somewhere. Like the G's a place now. Well, yeah, it's definitely to develop younger guys or guys that who weren't quite ready when they made the jump from college, but now it is a good stopping point for veterans where we don't want to quite play overseas because we feel like you'll overlook us if we go there. So we're going to do it here in the States, be homegrown. And guess what? We could still provide that locker room presence to other younger guys in the G League locker room. And we could do
Of
that for
course.
your locker room. So there's
Of
more of a
course.
selling point for those veterans that are there.
Yeah, it's nice seeing the strides the G League has taken over the last few years. Far from the D League, they used to call it. It's kind of like a fever dream. It's so long ago. But yeah, no, it would be. It's. I'm a huge fan of what the G League does again. Like college guys can go there instead of going to college, making a salary. These old vets coming in, trying to get a second chance, making a name for themselves again. I'll just say it. Hey, I don't know if anyone from the Celtics organization watches this podcast, but if you have any sort of control over, signing players, I've been asking for it for years. Bring Isaiah Thomas back. Just fix the curse, okay? Whether it's real or not, just fix it. Bring Isaiah Thomas in. I promise you nothing but good things will happen. Just good vibes. That's all we want.
See what happens.
But yeah, also I have it written down here. Joe Mazzulla and the coaching staff was at the Utah Jazz G League game watching Isaiah Thomas. So, listen, Isaiah Thomas said after the game, he goes, I keep in touch with everyone. He talks to JT and Jaylen Brown a lot. So, there's ties, there's connections. We'll see.
We'll see what happens, man. I mean,
we'll see.
I think it makes sense for the Celtics to go after another backup point guard if it's needed, I'm not quite sure where he fits. He can fit. I just don't know if they'll do it.
He's small. They can fit him.
That is
fit
insane.
Him in small places.
Crazy.
But so that's all we have for topics. I'm kind of looking through to see if there's
there's actually one big thing that we didn't address with Isaiah Thomas on Draymond Green's podcast.
Oh, the other Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, yes. the OG Isaiah
the
Thomas.
OG. Yes,
basically dropped a lot of gems just saying
he
that
did.
KD extended the Warriors championship run, which
I've been saying, Jerry, listen, I have said this and this is a hot take to some people, but I have been saying this for years, and it's such a good feeling hearing someone like Isaiah Thomas kind of repeat it in his own words.
2-time NBA champ. I mean, come on.
Listen to me. There was no dynasty before Kevin Durant. They won one championship, and injuries are a part of the game. Every single year you can say, oh, this team won because these guys got hurt. 100%. They faced a Cavs team with just LeBron, no Kyrie and Kevin Love. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm not saying they wouldn't have won if they were healthy. I'm just saying that's the team that they beat to win their first championship.
Before we even go any further, Michael Conley in the first round series in the Grizzlies broke his damn face.
Broke his face. Broke his fucking face,
crazy.
Too. Dude, it was just they beat an injury-riddled Cavs team, okay? And then the year later, they 73-9, best regular season record. Unbelievable. Blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
And then Kevin Durant comes along, and they win 2 more. I'm not here to say, because I don't know what could have happened if Kevin Durant didn't sign, but I am confident. I believe that if Kevin Durant didn't sign with the Warriors, I don't think those 3 guys, those 4 guys with Iggy would have 4 rings. I think their legacies would be a little different. It could be a lot different. I do think that they maybe could have won another ring or so because they still had a stacked roster. But Isaiah Thomas, I do think is right. Kevin Durant is a huge reason, if not the biggest reason, why
the
top
10 player
have a legacy. I mean, it's obvious. It's they were a great team without, and this is why people give KD shit, and I understand, but it's when KD went to Golden State, he made them that unstoppable team. Yeah. They weren't unstoppable before he went there because they lost. You saw that they lost. They weren't unstoppable. He made them unstoppable, and he became their best player. He didn't ride coattails.
Check this out. Just everything you said, I wholeheartedly agree with. Even most of Isaiah Thomas's statements from that podcast clip, I agree with. The only one that I might be give some pushback on is that I don't know. He made it seem like the Warriors would have vanished into thin air.
Absolutely, because he was saying they were going like this. That's not true.
Yeah,
they would have been fine.
Compete, but
100%.
What I could agree on, everybody's legacy is different, and therefore so is LeBron's because he was getting to the finals every single year. And now we're talking about
another ring,
another one. We're talking about maybe a possible another 2 to 3.
Passing Jordan,
that guy could have stacked up in the 2010s like he should have, like how MJ did in the 90s to get 6 rings. We're probably 100%. Talking about LeBron having I'm saying probably like 5 to 7 championships. Like that would have been
Yeah.
realistic.
You want then that whole GOAT debate. I mean,
It's over.
that's over. The whole Steph, and I do think Steph's one of the best point guards of all time. But I mean, without those rings, you bump him down a few notches and stuff. Is Draymond a Hall of Famer? Is Klay Thompson a Hall of Fame? Like,
Speaking, you mentioned Steph being one of the best point guards of all time. Isaiah Thomas
and
also.
then Isaiah Thomas also mentioned, he goes, I don't consider him a. Was that Isaiah Thomas, or didn't Magic Johnson say something too?
I don't know if Magic said it, but I know on
Okay.
Draymond's show, Isaiah did say that I don't consider Steph an all-time great point guard because you're the point guard. You being Draymond Green is a point guard.
Right,
and I'm not going
right.
to say I don't. I think the game has changed so much where the position.
It's so hard to find a traditional point guard nowadays.
It's not like Isaiah Thomas mentioned his own resume where he was the top scorer and top assist leader. He's one of the best point guards of all time, rightfully so. Wholeheartedly agree. But the way the game is played today, your point guards are expected to average probably 25 plus, where the rest of your guys are probably going to lead the team in assists.
You have centers now that are averaging 10 assists. You have small forwards that average
LeBron was technically the point guard for all those championship teams.
You could say LeBron has been a point guard he's a small forward / point guard his whole career, 100%. Yeah, it's just a different game. I get what Isaiah Thomas is saying, but it's just it is different. Changed. I do think that Steph might be classified more as like a shooting guard, even though he was a guy that the offense ran through him, had the ball in his hands. Draymond was the main assist or whatever. But it is interesting hearing like a legend like Isaiah Thomas actually coming out and saying these things, because like you said, he didn't hold back. He just gave amazing clips, and also Draymond's face when he was like getting into the Warriors was hilarious. He was just like,
but these are things that as a fan, I've said this for years, where I know that Kevin Durant extended their championship window. And if you're smart, everybody should agree with that, because there's no guarantee that they win those championships without him. I don't think they do.
And if KD stays in OKC, who says that they're not the ones that take out? They were up 3-1 against the Warriors that year. I mean,
there's so many different things that why Isaiah Thomas, for the most part, all the clips that I've seen, I didn't watch the entire episode, but most of those clips I agree with. Kevin Durant did extend their dynasty. Draymond is the brain behind Golden State's success. He might not be the most important player. Actually, he might not be the best player, but he was the most important player.
Sure.
Being the brain of what they did. So, I mean...
him getting suspended Game 6 could have been the reason why they lost that year in the first place. Show you the importance of Draymond, 100%.
And maybe if that doesn't happen, maybe they two-peat. Maybe KD never comes to Golden State. I don't know. It's a whole different ball game just because of
universe. In another universe, all that stuff happened. But in this universe, the Warriors do have 4 rings.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant has 2, and he's a big reason why they got 2 of them.
No, but he is the reason.
He is the reason why they got 2. Let's be honest. This guy was averaging 30 plus in the finals. Let's fucking stop bullshitting. All right, we watched what he did against the Cavs in those finals. That was best player on the planet shit. That's what that was. But debate. But hey, he put up crazy numbers in the finals.
Yeah, when you're playing with Steph, Klay, and Dre, and then you're the guy that I don't have to be double teamed.
You have to. You have to put up those numbers if you're KD. But that's all we got for that. We talked a lot of Isaiah Thomas this episode, multiple Isaiah Thomases, some injuries, all that stuff. But I think it's time for us to sign off. Like I said earlier in the episode, if you are an audio listener, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating, like us, follow us. I don't know how it works on the podcast platforms, if it's a like or a follow thing, but whatever you got to do it. We appreciate you. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, check out our shorts, our gamified content. In the shorts tab here on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all those socials, our socials on the screen. And until next week, hopefully no injuries leading up to next week. Just a clean bill of health for everyone. Episode 30 next week. Well, we actually have a notable player that we can use.
Easy.
Seth Curry.
Yep.
Curry, Charlotte Hornets.
Del Curry.
Del Curry. The only notable 30s I can think of.
Right.
Yeah. And until next week, hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back for episode 30. So, peace out.